There are a lot of headlines out there about how AI is impacting the job market. But what about the job search process itself? Well, I had questions, so I went searching for some answers. And well, it seemed like the best place to start was with AI itself. So I came up with some questions that I have for AI. And now I want you to hear along with me because I do not know what it's going to say, what it thinks about, well, itself in the hiring process. So let's find out. I would like to talk about how AI is playing a role in the job search now and what it's going to look like in the future. So let's have a conversation about it.
Absolutely. That sounds like a fascinating topic. AI has already changed so much about the job search process, from helping people tailor their resumes to match job descriptions to how recruiters use AI to screen candidates. And looking ahead, I think it's going to get even more interesting. What specific aspects are you most curious about?
Well, looking back over the past 5 years, what do you think the biggest single change has been since AI has entered the job search hiring process?
I think one of the biggest changes has been the use of AI in applicant tracking systems, or ATS. It's really transformed how resumes are screened and sorted. Instead of human eyes going through every application, AI can quickly scan for keywords and qualifications. That means job seekers really have to be strategic with their resumes to make sure they get noticed.
Here's my takeaway. The majority of companies are already using an ATS in some capacity, with 98.4% of Fortune 500 companies using one. This is not going away. So, whether or not you love or hate the fact that companies do use applicant tracking systems, it is just becoming part of the hiring process. Is this a benefit to job seekers or not?
It can be a bit of a double-edged sword. On one hand, it's beneficial because it can speed up the hiring process and make it more efficient. It can also help match candidates to roles that are a good fit. But on the other hand, it can be challenging for job seekers because if they don't optimize their resumes with the right keywords or formatting, they might get overlooked, even if they're highly qualified. So it does add a new layer of complexity to the job search.
Here's my takeaway. You need to be tailoring your resume, both for applicant tracking systems and for humans. When you're tailoring it for applicant tracking systems, you're going to want to make sure to focus on keywords and layout. And when you are tailoring it for humans, focus on the impact of your bullet points as well as layout. Now, this can be done and it does not have to be overwhelming. And if you are interested, I do have a video all about tailoring your resume with AI that you are going to want to check out. What do you say to job seekers who are just so frustrated that they even have to deal with AI at this point? Because in reality, what's supposed to be made easier isn't necessarily happening. So, what do you say to those people who just are like, this isn't working and we just need to go back to how it used to be?
I totally get that frustration. It's definitely a big shift and it can feel impersonal at times. I think one of the best things to do is to focus on what you can control. That might mean learning a bit about how these AI systems work so you can navigate them more effectively, but also remembering that the human side of job searching, like networking, building relationships, and showcasing your personality, still holds a lot of weight. It's all about blending the new tools with the timeless strategies.
Here's my takeaway. You are going to need to start leaning into networking even more if you are looking to bypass AI in their hiring process. And don't just network. Make sure to level up your networking by making true connections with people. Learn about industries, learn about how they got to where they are, and ask them for any insights that they may have because you never know where these conversations may lead. What do you see as like this is going to just be inevitable in the next 5 to 10 years in the regards to the job search process with AI? And what's one thing you're like, this is a long shot, but this may happen in the future in regards to AI in the hiring process?
I think one inevitable change is that AI is going to become even more integrated into every stage of the hiring process, from initial sourcing and matching to onboarding. It's likely that AI will handle a lot of the behind the scenes work, making things more efficient. As for a long shot, I think it would be fascinating if we eventually see AI being used to predict career paths for individuals, almost like a career coach that helps you navigate your entire professional journey based on your skills, interests, and experiences. It might be a bit of a long shot, but it would be pretty cool if that happened.
Here's my takeaway. There are already AI interviewing screenings that are taking place. So to know that this is currently happening just goes to show that it is growing at such a rapid pace, and AI interview screenings might just be the tip of the iceberg. So get comfortable. Get comfortable as much as you can with having an object that you are speaking with and that you are interacting with, because ultimately it will lead you to be ahead of the pack when it becomes more mainstream. I know that we are talking about AI in the job search process, and you've mentioned it's a helpful tool. But where is this data? Like, how can you prove to me that AI is having a positive impact in the current hiring process? And where's that data to back that up?
I understand your concern. According to a 2025 survey by Insight Global, 99% of hiring managers use AI in their hiring processes, and 98% have seen significant improvements in hiring efficiency due to AI. Additionally, a study published in the International Journal of Business and Management found that AI can reduce recruitment time by up to 85%. These findings suggest that AI is positively impacting the hiring process.
Here's my takeaway. Just because the recruitment time is cut down does not mean that it is a better experience, either for the recruiters or for the applicants, you on the other side of it. When you cut down on times, that doesn't equal quality. And I think there needs to be more of a deep dive on how the candidates are doing once they're hired. Is it a true fit? Are they lasting at the company? So definitely some more deep diving here needs to take place. Are you excited about the future? Are you scared that you might be left behind? Are you frustrated that we're even having to deal with this at all? Let me know in the comments below. Just because the time that it takes to hire somebody is lower doesn't necessarily mean that the quality of the candidate is better. So, how is that being measured?
You're right. Faster hiring doesn't always mean better candidates. To ensure quality, companies are using various tools like aptitude tests, personality assessments, and other data-driven evaluations to measure the quality of candidates. These methods aim to ensure that even though the process might be more efficient, the candidates who make it through are still high quality and a good fit for the company.
Here's my takeaway. It seems as though more non-human touch points are being added to the process rather than human touch points. So it's just inevitable that there are going to be more screenings, more testing, more skills assessments done online. So be sure to feel comfortable in navigating those when you are looking for a job, because you're most likely going to come upon them. Do you think that having the initial interview be with AI is a bit dehumanizing for the person on the other side who has put in years and years of work and then are relegated to talking to a computer or a bot?
I can definitely understand why it might feel that way. There's something really valuable about that human interaction, especially in those first impressions. AI interviews can sometimes feel a bit impersonal, and it's not always easy for candidates to really showcase their personality and experience in that setting. That said, AI interviews can also add consistency and help reduce some biases. So it's kind of a trade off. Hopefully, as the technology evolves, we can find ways to keep that human touch while still benefiting from the efficiency of AI.
Here's my takeaway. There are still a lot of glitches that need to be figured out before this becomes mainstream. So I'm hoping that this isn't something that is going to be right around the corner, but maybe years, even a decade down the road. Where are you missing the mark? Where's AI coming up short?
I think one area where AI can fall short is in understanding the nuances of human interaction and context. It can sometimes misinterpret things like tone or intent, especially in communication. AI can also inadvertently introduce biases if it's trained on biased data, and it might overlook candidates who don't fit the traditional mold but could still be a great fit. So there's definitely still a need for human oversight and judgment to fill in those gaps.
Here's my takeaway. This is why it's so important to get in front of a real person. I think now is the time to double down on networking. Already, there is a huge portion of open positions that are filled through networking. And if you really want to get a leg up, the way to do this is to get to the top of the resume pile by knowing somebody. And what are the ethical dilemmas that we might be facing or are already facing with using AI in the hiring process?
There are definitely a few ethical concerns that come up with using AI in hiring. One big one is bias. If the AI is trained on historical data that has biases, it can unintentionally perpetuate those biases. There's also the issue of transparency. Candidates might not always know how decisions are being made or what criteria the AI is using. Privacy is another concern since AI often processes a lot of personal data. And finally, there's the question of accountability. If something goes wrong or a candidate feels they were treated unfairly, it can be tricky to figure out where the responsibility lies. So there's definitely a lot to consider as we keep integrating AI into hiring.
Here's my takeaway. There needs to be more done to address regulation, but unfortunately, AI is moving at such a lightning pace that we are lagging behind. And when you have people who aren't interested in learning more about AI, aka politicians, it's hard for them to see the impact that it is having now and into the future if they're not willing to truly understand it. And I think this is a gap that hopefully will be addressed as time goes on, but well, I guess time will tell. And what type of standards and regulations are surrounding this?
In the US, the use of AI in hiring is generally guided by federal anti discrimination laws, like those enforced by the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. But some states are also introducing their own regulations. For example, Colorado's AI Act, which takes effect in 2026, requires employers to conduct annual impact assessments and be transparent about the AI systems they use in hiring. New York City also has regulations like Local Law 144, which requires independent bias audits for automated hiring tools. All of these regulations aim to ensure that AI driven hiring is fair and transparent.
Here's my takeaway. Short answer, there are none. But there's really nothing at a federal level. It's just up to individual states and or cities. But essentially at this point, federal, there is no oversight.
You're right that at the moment there isn't a comprehensive federal regulation specifically governing AI and hiring. The responsibility largely falls on existing anti-discrimination laws and guidance from bodies like the EEOC. So for now, it really is up to individual states and cities to create specific regulations and companies themselves to make sure they're being ethical and fair.
Here's my takeaway. Relying on companies to monitor themselves is shaky at best. We know that companies tend to have their best interests at heart, but I do hope that there is a sense of we still have to comply with the law at an overall sense. So maybe I'm not giving them enough credit and they will take it upon themselves to do so. And what is your prediction as far as the balance of humans versus AI being actual employees?
I think we'll see AI becoming more integrated into workplaces, handling repetitive tasks, data analysis, and other routine functions, which will free up humans to focus on more creative, strategic, and relationship driven roles. I don't think AI will replace humans entirely, but rather act as a complement, enhancing productivity and efficiency. So the future workplace will probably be a blend of human creativity and AI powered efficiency, creating a nice balance between the two.
Here's my takeaway. Start becoming comfortable with AI now, even if that's just using it in your day to day with meal prepping or understanding a harder concept and breaking it down for your kids to understand. Whatever it is, become comfortable with AI because it is not going anywhere. And are you saying complimentary just to make people feel better, humans feel better?
Not at all. AI really does work best when it's enhancing what humans already do well rather than replacing it. There's a lot of value in human intuition, empathy, and the ability to understand unique personal situations. And AI just helps streamline the process, offer data driven insights, and take care of repetitive tasks. So it really is a partnership that plays to the strengths of both humans and technology.
Here's my takeaway. Only time will truly tell. What is your biggest tip to a job seeker right now in regards to what they should learn first and foremost about using AI in their job search?
I would say the biggest tip is to start by getting comfortable with how AI tools like applicant tracking systems work and how they scan for keywords and qualifications. That way you can tailor your resume and your application materials to make sure they align with what the AI is looking for. And once you have that foundation, you can start exploring other AI tools that can help with things like interview practice, networking, and even career planning. So understanding the basics of how AI works in hiring is definitely a great place to start.
Here's my takeaway. Whether you love it or hate it, AI isn't going anywhere. You have a choice. Yes, you can say, I don't want to learn it, and that's okay. But don't be surprised when your job search is impacted by it or even your day to day things that we don't even know how they're going to shift. So I would suggest at least familiarizing yourself with it enough that you are not blindsided. All right, so there you have it, the conversation with AI about AI in the hiring process. And now I'm curious, where do you see AI going in regards to the job search process? And how do you even feel about it all? AI is not going anywhere. What is it going to look like in the future? I'm not sure because where we thought we'd be 5 years ago as opposed to now is probably way different than most of us ever imagined. So it's going somewhere, it's going somewhere fast. And the best you can do is just buckle up, go for the ride, and learn as much as you can. And if you are like, hey, I'd like to learn some more about AI in the job search process, make sure to check out my video here.